And start on your back again here for a simple outer hip stretch. Knees bent and feet flat, starting with a neutral pelvis. And for a moment, take your arms overhead along the floor, lengthen the armpits and the elbows. Extend the spine long and take a deep inhalation. Let the pelvis be heavy and relaxed. Be grounded in your feet. And then take your arms out to the sides and cross your right ankle over your left knee. And let the right knee open out to the right. And then lift the left foot up off the floor, which will bring your whole right leg closer to your chest. And then grab onto the back of the left thigh. So grab onto the hamstring close to the knee with both of your hands. So the right hand will go in the hole between the right leg and the left leg. And think of pressing your right knee away from your chest as you bring the right shin bone towards your collarbones. Press the right thigh away from the abdomen. And breathe into this sensation here. Pull your left knee and right ankle closer into your chest to deepen the stretch. Still pressing the right thigh and knee away from your chest. And then release and come to center, both feet on the mat. Arms out to the sides and cross the left ankle over the right knee, keeping the left knee open. And then start to take the right knee and left ankle towards the chest as you grab onto the right hamstring with both hands. Left arm reaching in the hole between the left thigh and the right thigh. And keep pressing the left knee away from you. And that's happening because the femur is turning in the hip socket. So you're finding a deep external rotation in the hip socket in order to stretch the deep hip rotators. And pull the right knee and left ankle closer into your chest. Stay long in your spine here. Don't harden or push the abdomen, but stay long in the lumbar, long in the thoracic spine. Breathing deeply here. Breathing into the sensations, relaxing into the stretch that you feel. And then release the right foot down and the left foot down. Stretch your arms out to the sides. Relax and lengthen the belly. Rest in neutral. Now we'll practice Ardha Navasana. So lay on your back again, starting with a neutral spine here. Feet flat, knees bent. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Be in neutral here. And then exhale and find a deep contraction of the low belly. So the low, deep belly pulls back towards the interior spine, tucking the pelvis, and then stretch your legs out at 45 degrees and lift your shoulder blades and arms up. Inhale here and find length in the limbs. Exhale and scoop the belly again, thinking of the belly moving towards the back body, contracting there. Inhale, stretch the arms and stretch the legs. Roll the thighs in and make your legs longer. Exhale, find a deep contraction. Inhale, be here. Exhale, a deep contraction again. Inhale, be here. Exhale a deep contraction again. Inhale, be here. Exhale a deep contraction again. Inhale, be here. Exhale a deep contraction again. And then inhale, lay back down, bend your knees, feet flat, and recover here. Smooth breath, inhaling and exhaling. And now for Supta Urdhva Hastasana. Make sure that the flesh of your buttocks is pulled away from the low back, and then stretch your legs out one at a time and reach your arms up overhead but along the floor. And stretch your whole body out in this manner. Open the feet, open the toes, roll your thighs in and ground your thighs down towards the mat. And pull your rib cage long away from the legs. Lengthen and extend your arms. So pull your legs towards the feet and pull your arms towards the hands. And let your abdomen, let your whole midsection, let your lumbar receive that stretch. Breathing here as you stretch the legs and stretch the sides of your belly, stretch the arms. Relax and release any tension that's unnecessary as you lengthen, and then bend your knees and come back to neutral. Now we'll do belly rolling pose with a block. Laying on the back to start, place the block between your knees, knees over hips, shins parallel to the floor. Stretch your arms out to the sides, wake up your feet. Spread the arms, inhale, lengthen the spine, and then exhale, lower the knees down towards the right hand, squeezing the block. Pull the belly to the left, slide the shoulder blades down the back, press the backs of the hands into the floor, squeeze the block between the knees and lower the knees down a little more to the right as you roll the belly left. Stretch the left arm to the left, and then inhale, come back to center. Squeezing the block, and exhale, take the knees over to the left arm. Reach the right arm to the right, wide through the arms, shoulder blades down the back. Pull the belly to the right. Roll the belly to the right as the legs go left. Long spine here, and then inhale back to the center. And exhale the knees over to the right side, squeezing the block. Belly recedes back and slides to the left. And then inhale to the center. Exhale, take the knees over towards the left elbow as the belly rolls to the right. And inhale back to center. Exhale, recede and scoop the belly as it rolls left as the knees go right. Inhale, center, squeezing the block. Exhale, let the belly recede and roll to the right as the legs go to the left elbow. Nice and even and wide through the arms, and continue like this again to each side. Shoulder blades sliding down the back, long in the anterior spine, connecting the outer knees in towards the inner knees, towards the block. Stretch the elbows, open the hands, hug your shoulder blades into the rib cage. And then lower the feet back down to the floor and relax here. Smooth inhalation and exhaling. Remove the block from between your knees and rest in neutral. Now we'll practice Virasana. So spread your blanket out on your sticky mat, and this will be the padding for your shins. And then place your block on the lowest height onto the blanket. Come onto hands and knees with the block between your feet. And then take the top of your head onto the sticky mat, lift the buttocks, and put your hands onto the tops of your calves so that you can pull the calves both down towards the feet and also out to the sides. So as you roll those calves out to the sides, you make space to let the femur bones settle between the shins. And then sit your butt down on the block and pull the flesh of the buttocks back so you can sit really on the center of the sitting bones. And then reach underneath the skin of the knees and pull the skin of the shins forwards. And then rest your hands on your thighs and sit tall here. And you can enjoy how in this pose the femurs are internally rotated and you're also resting. And then interlace your fingers and press your palms forward and then lift the arms up. Keep the back, deep abdomen settling back and lengthening as you take the arms back. So the front waist moves to the back waist. The waist elongates. Lengthen through the armpits and squeeze your outer arms in. Let the outer hips settle and find a deep ascension through the midline of the trunk. Lengthen the anterior spine from bottom to top. And then lower your arms down and change the interlace, pressing the palms forward and all the way up over the head. Extend the elbows, extend the waist. Release and ground the tops of the femurs here. The pubic bone is descending, the groins are deep. The back of the abdomen settles back and lengthens. Gather your outer arms and stay extended in the sides of your body as you slide the shoulder blades down slightly. Open the palms, outer hips releasing down. And then lower your arms down and rest your hands on your thighs. Now we'll practice pigeon pose with some supportive props. So have a blanket on your sticky mat, and that will be padding for your back knee. And have a bolster horizontally on your mat and 2 blocks up at the front of your mat. And then sit on your bolster with your right leg in the pigeon position in front of the bolster. And the front of the back thigh, at the top of the thigh, will be resting on the bolster as you see here. So come into this position. It's a pigeon position, but with the bolster supporting you underneath the pelvis. And have your hands on the blocks quite wide. And let the blocks help you sit very tall. And the right knee is quite wide. Make sure that your right knee is wider than your right hip. So the right knee is pretty much right at the right side edge of your yoga mat. And internally rotate the back thigh so that the front of your back leg is pointing down. And then lift the low belly and elongate the spine. Create a deep internal lift in the trunk. And see if your tailbone can become quite heavy here. Lift from underneath the collarbones and use your hands to help you lift the rib cage up off the abdomen and even lengthen the throat and look up. And now we'll start to forward fold here, coming onto the forearms. And as you come onto the forearms, let your pelvis become very heavy into the bolster. And to increase the stretch, you can move your right heel further away from the bolster. In other words, the right foot can come towards your left elbow. Or you can stay here and just breathe into the sensations that arise in the outer right hip especially. Staying long in the spine here, staying buoyant in the belly here. Stay present, steady breathing. And then walk your hands back and come out of the pose by sitting on the shins on the blanket, and then switch sides. So now take the left knee forward and set yourself up here so the left knee is quite wide near the outer left edge of your yoga mat. Internally rotate the back thigh. And so you're in this seated upright position with the bolster supporting you under your pelvis. And think of pulling that left femur back to help you square the hips. Lift the low belly. Use your hands to sit nice and tall, lengthening in the side ribs. Spread wide across the collarbones and lift the whole rib cage up off of the pelvis. Lift the whole rib cage up off of the abdomen and lengthen up through the central axis of the body. Relax and open the back of the throat and even look up. Gather the left femur back to square the hips as you elongate your trunk forward and come onto forearms, letting the pelvis relax into the support of the bolster here. Let the belly recede towards the anterior spine. And lengthen the thoracic spine forwards. Stay present here as you breathe, observing the sensations. And then use your hands to help you out of the pose, coming onto hands and knees and then sitting on the shins. Now we'll practice Gomukhasana legs. So stack up 2 folded blankets as you see here. And then come onto your hands and knees with the blankets behind you. And cross your right knee in front of the left knee as you see. And then you'll crawl yourself back so that the folded blankets are between the feet. And let yourself come to sit back so that your buttocks, your sitting bones, are supported by the blankets. And your legs are in this very crossed position. And take a moment to adjust the flesh of your calf muscles and adjust the flesh of the buttocks so that you can sit right on the center of the sitting bones. And so your legs are very deeply folded into each other. So you can have the heels quite close to the outer hips, or you can move the heels a little further from the outer hips. Hands on the blanket behind you. Lengthen and lift the spine, shoulders back, elbows back. Let your thigh bones settle. And then change the position of the hands so the hands will rest on the top knee. Have straight elbows and lift from underneath the heart. The abdomen is receding back. And let the thigh bones and the knees be heavy and relaxed. And then start to come forward, taking your hands onto the floor and walk those hands even more forward as you find a gentle forward bend here. So let there be a gentle curve in the spine, something like a child's pose back. Think of pulling the right femur back towards the hip socket, and think of firming the outer hips towards each other. Let the upper buttocks release down towards the blankets behind you. And breathe into the sensation here. Connect your femurs back into the hip sockets. Smooth breathing. Be the witness here. Observe yourself in this posture. Observe yourself responding to the sensations. Observe yourself breathing. And then start to walk your hands back to let yourself back up, hands resting on the top knee. Come all the way upright in your spine, head over tail. And then come forward onto hands and knees again, and we'll switch sides. So now take the left knee in front of the right knee, crossing the shins, and back your hips up so that your hips will come down onto the blankets. And take a moment here to adjust the flesh of your buttocks, to adjust the flesh of the calves. And sit tall on the center of your sitting bones. Hands on the blankets behind you. Lengthen the sides of your waist all the way up into the armpits so those side ribs are lifting and the heads of the humerus bones go back. So there comes a natural lift from under the heart, from under the collarbones. Pubic bone is descending, groins deep and descending. And let your hands rest on the top knee here as you invite the femurs to get grounded, the knees to be heavy and relaxed. Spine is tall and natural. And then pull the left femur back towards the hip socket and gather your outer hips in towards the midline as you walk your hands forward to find the forward bend here. Gentle, natural curve of the spine as the belly recedes, as the upper buttocks releases down, as you gently lengthen the trunk forward. Head is relaxed. You can stay active with the femur bones, gathering the femur bones back towards the hip sockets and gathering the outer hips in. Breathe into the sensations here, observing each moment, not at all placing judgment on the situation. Stay present here and breathe into the sensations that arise. And now start to walk your hands back so that you can sit up tall. Hands stack on the top knee again. Steady, smooth breath here. Lifting and opening through the back of the throat. Outer hips are grounded. And then come forward onto hands and knees to come out of the pose. And now we'll practice Sukhasana, forward bend with a chair. So sit on a folded blanket as you see here and cross the right shin in front of your left, and the chair will be right in front of you. And then pull the flesh of the buttocks back so you can sit on the center of the sitting bones. Press your fingertips down into the blanket, let your shoulders go back, lift the side ribs, and create a deep internal lift from the pelvic floor all the way up through the central axis of the body. And then start to come forward, primarily hinging at the hips, but keep a soft roundness in the spine, something like a child's pose back. And then cross your forearms on the seat of the chair and rest your forehead on your forearms. Relax and release the thighs. The abdomen is gently receding back. And become quiet in the center of the brain here. Observe the sensations. See how much you can release any extraneous, unnecessary gripping that's in your buttocks or in your outer hips. Relax and release there. And then come up to sit and switch the cross of your legs, now bringing the left shin in front. Make sure your heels are not too close to your sitting bones, but rather the heels are quite far from the sitting bones, ankles under knees. Lengthen your spine using your hands as support. And then come forward and cross your forearms the other way and rest your head on your forearms. Abdomen receding. Outer hips relaxing and releasing. Becoming quiet in the center of your brain. Observe sensations as they arise and fall away. Observe all of the change in each moment. Observe all of the change inside yourself. Go deep inside yourself here, observing, listening. Smooth out your breathing. Stay present here as you breathe. And then come up and take your hands to the blanket behind you and sit tall. Stay very quiet here as you sit with a long spine. Now we'll practice a version of corpse pose called dead man pose. So make a loop in your strap and step your feet through the loop. And then tighten up the strap so that your knees are strapped together fairly snugly. And then start to lay down on your back and set up the flesh of your buttocks so that it's pulling away from the lower back, so the buttocks is releasing towards the feet side. And now make your feet quite wide, so the feet are as wide as your sticky mat, and point your toes in slightly so you're a little bit pigeon-toed. And then slide your shoulder blades down your back and take a nice deep breath in to lengthen your spine and let your arms and hands relax. And just let the femur bones relax here. So the femurs are relaxing into the hip sockets. Smooth, steady breath here. And now start to draw your knees in towards your chest so that you can reach for the strap. Loosen it up a little bit and then take the strap off your legs. And roll on to your side and come on up.